Hello, seventh graders. I wanted to go through your lesson today for 6.2.5, writing and solving equations. We're only going to be looking at one major problem today, and then I will go through what you're going to be doing for your homework. So first off, we're going to be looking at problem 6-103. This sadly says that you're going to be working with your team, but we are unable to do that unless you want to text or call some friends and set it up. But I think you should be able to do this on your own, and you can always email me or set up a Calendly if you are unsure of what to do. So this is kind of like getting to the end of chapter 6. By now, you shouldn't need to use the 5D process as much and do the guess and check, but more be able to figure out what needs to be represented by a variable and how everything kind of relates to that variable. So we're going to be looking at the first one, problem A, and I'm going to give you some expectations that I have for you for solving this kind of problem. So let me pull up my iPad screen here. So when you're solving these, there's 3 things that you need to make sure that you're doing. The first is make sure that you write an equation. The second thing is solve your equation, and then lastly, write your answer in a sentence. Okay, and we're going to look at problem A as an example, and then what you're going to be doing on your own today is choosing one from B, C, D, or E to do on your own. So I'm going to show you kind of how I read through this problem and then what I decide is going to be the variable and how I relate the other unknowns to that variable. So this one is talking about buildings. So Hong Kong's tallest building, Chu International Finance Center, is 88 stories tall. So that's our first kind of fact that we're looking at. So Hong Kong's tallest tower is 88 stories. Okay, and then this former Sears Tower in Chicago is 8 stories taller than the Empire State Building in New York. So we know that Chicago's tallest building is 8 more than New York. And then we have New York, but they don't give us any other information on that. And then if all of the buildings were stacked up on top of each other, the combined heights would be 300 stories. Okay, so in this case, we know Hong Kong, we know that Chicago relates to New York, and then we know that New York is a separate value, but we don't know anything about it. So in this case, the best thing to make the variable for would be New York. So New York is going to be X, since that's our main unknown, and other things relate to that. So that means that Chicago's building would be X plus 8, because it's 8 stories taller. And then Hong Kong is just 88. We don't need to have a variable for that. And then we know our combined total is going to be 300. So the first thing that I asked you to do is to write an equation. So we know what all of these added together equals. So I'm going to write my equation down here. So X plus 8 plus 88 equals 300. And then, as you know from our previous lessons, we need to combine like terms and solve for x. So I have 2x plus 96 equals 300. So I just put the two x's together and then added my two values, 88 and 8. And then we're going to subtract 96 from both sides. So this is like adding the opposite. So 2x equals 204. So if you don't remember, this is like adding the opposite. So that way we can simplify. And then our last step is we're going to divide by 2. So x equals 102. Okay, but we need to look back at our question to see what we're actually solving for. So it says, if all of the buildings were stacked on top of each other, the combined heights would have 300 stories. How many stories does the Sears Tower have? Or that's the one in Chicago. So how many stories tall is the one in Chicago? So going back to our labels here, it says Chicago is 8 plus x. So we need to add 8 to that. So our final answer is going to be 110. So 102 plus 8 equals 110. Whoops, not that many. Okay, and then we need to write our answer in a sentence. So Chicago's Sears Tower would have 110 stories. Okay, so this process of writing out your facts and then solving for your variables, setting up your equation, writing out your answer sentence, what I need you to do is to pick B, C, D, or E, and you're going to solve one of those the exact same way. So I should see this amount of work for the problem that you choose. And that's what you're going to post on Google Classroom, along with two other problems, 6-109. For this one, if you look at these two links, they're equal. So you can set them equal to each other. So this would be just like building an equation map with the algebra tiles, okay, to find the length of m. And then 6-110, I want you to solve these three because I think it's always good to have a bit of practice. So you're just solving these three equations for x. Okay, so that's it for today. If you have any questions, please email me or send me a Calendly invite to meet with you. I will post a picture of my notebook just in case you missed any information. And I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.